I'm Dave King, the editor and associate publisher of The Collaborative, and today I'm joined by Micah, director, who is, we think, scheduled to have his new short film, Safe House, screened on the El Rey Network this weekend.
This Sunday, yeah. 7:30. If you guys are around, feel free to come on by and watch a movie that might play on the air.
We were just having a rowdy conversation about how we can't find hats that fit our heads.
Yeah. I was just honestly like, if anybody out there agrees, like it is a miracle when somebody like I stand in awe of people who can pull off wearing hats. It's rare that I find a hat that fits my head as well as this one. Like, oh my God, I try on different hats, like fitteds and like whatever, man. I try so hard. And then you see people like Jason Momoa wear that goddamn like top hat and he looks perfect in it. And I'm like, why can't I wear a top hat and look amazing in it? Except I just try a top hat and I look like a fat Willy Wonka. And then like who else? Like, you know, like anytime I see the Kentucky Derby pictures, yeah. I'm like, how? Like all of them pull it off. Like I don't know how. Like it must be something in the air.
Imagine how much it would cost to get that one of those hats fitted to your head. I mean, you know.
Oh right.
It would be even. Yeah. You'd have to get really rich.
If you're gonna get a custom fitted to your head, that's a whole different story, I guess. I think that's going too far. It's like I think like the right way with a hat is that you just have to pick it up, put it on your head. If it fits, great, that's the hat. If not, throw it away. Like, oh, absolutely. Like, I feel like that's. I mean,
so that's why I throw away every hat.
Right. I feel like that's how Jason Momoa does. Is like, does this have magical properties? It does. I'm gonna keep it. I'm a big Jason Momoa fan. Not his acting career, just him.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I could see that.
It's a problem. It's a problem in the Khan household.
So it's interesting. We posted the article the other day. I talked to a few people about just Safe House and their first impressions on watching the trailer. And a lot of folks actually said to me that they were confused because they looked at it and they thought it was a Robert Rodriguez film. Just by the...
You stop it.
No, seriously.
Stop. Who said that? I want to kiss you.
Well, I mean, just looking at just the brief action sequences and the sort of the costumes and the way the folks are sort of dirtied up and ready to go, it looks like there's a lot of thought put into the aesthetics. And
well, yeah. So like, that's definitely something that I thought about when I was filming. Is like one of the things that I really hate in movies when people are too clean. Mm-hmm. I feel like clean doesn't tell a story unless it's like part of the narrative. Like if you're doing like a movie about like somebody in like a post-apocalyptic society where like everyone has to be clean. But like for me, like one of the first things that I thought about was like the image of like the hands coming in and you see that they're bloody and bruised, because I feel like that tells a story. And like for an audience member who's watching it, they're gonna understand that something's happened. You don't necessarily know what happened, but something did, you know. And you can make it up on your own. I'm all about people trying to figure out things on their own, you know. But yeah, like I don't like it when movies kind of like don't have a lived-in feel to them. Like I think that's a problem that a lot of people make in film. Like, you know, when I did my first action film, which is like 3 years ago now, one of the things that I wanted was because I thought that like the more you can tell a story without saying anything, the better the film is, in my opinion. Like my sword fighting film, I wanted smeared blood and mud, because I feel like that tells the story that there was a fight. And then the other character has his face makeup but we ruined it with sweat. Right? So like it's like he's been there. Like it's like little subtle things that the audience might not pick up on, but subconsciously, I think that audiences are really smart. I think that I don't think that a lot of people give audiences enough credit, because I think that the human brain like is way smarter than we give it credit for. Even like if you talk to like your cousin from Kentucky, they're still smart people. You just got to let them be smart when they're watching movies. And part of that is giving them information that they put together themselves. And ultimately, like, you know, people don't get that information, that's on them. But like most people do. Like most people get, like when they watch The Summit, they're like, something's happened between these two people. We don't quite know what happens. But like that's the thing. It's in the back of their head. They're like all these little details. They're human beings are problem solving creatures. You know, we're trying to figure out the answers. And I think that when we get people into the phase of like figuring out the answer to what's going on, they're no longer thinking about what's happening next in the movie.
Right.
That's building suspense, because as human beings we want to figure out what's happening next. And like that's part of the problem with like, you know, where people hate M. Night Shyamalan for like the plot twist, right? But the man is actually a master of suspense too. Like the man knows craft better than anybody. But like the movies that people don't like were the ones where he allowed people to think ahead. You know, like movies like The Sixth Sense, there was no thinking ahead in that movie. Unbreakable, there was nobody knew where that movie was going, you know?
Right.
Like, because people were in the moment. They're trying to figure out what's happening with the characters. And that's genius directing and writing. And like early Shyamalan movies, man, like, oh my God. I remember just watching Unbreakable when I was younger, and I loved that movie too. My God, Bruce Willis.
I was in college when that came out, and you know, Sixth Sense had been such a phenomenon. It was my first freshman year, and we all got together and went. Like, you know, my new dorm folks and my girlfriend, and we go, and everyone was like, that was the worst thing ever. What? It was so cheesy. But I remember it sort of staying with me, and people were like, oh, you know, that was just a fluke. And obviously, you know, his career's gone up and down, and people think various things about him. But I do think that was actually more of a consistent film than you would than maybe even Sixth Sense was. Right. But,
and you know, it's movies like The Village and The Happening that gave people too much time to think about what's going to happen, that they're like, oh, I know the twist is like, I mean, who hasn't had a bad movie? Like, you know, I feel like a lot of directors like Spielberg get a pass when they make a bad movie, and because like even Spielberg's worst movie will still get nominated for an Oscar. It's ridiculous. Like Munich was not a good movie. Like,
I don't think he's made a good movie in quite some time, personally. But
Munich had great scenes. I'm trash talking Spielberg right now. Look at me. I'm just gonna stop while I'm ahead.
Well, so let's just, you know, sort of what we talked about, you know, for the article was this idea that you obviously you've been exploring your filmmaking, you've been finding your voice lately, and for you, action has sort of come to the forefront again after trying a lot of different things, including comedy and drama. And but it does seem like a lot of this is instilled with the sort of the you know, techniques from folks like Hitchcock or things like that, and getting people invested in the character or you know, the sort of situation, which serves you well when you're dealing with a short film, and you can keep people, you know, that invested for that period of time. I mean, obviously it gets more challenging when you're doing something longer, but but I mean, that's sort of like the perfect snippet there where you get folks trying to figure it out from the beginning, and it plays out before they've ever even figured it out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, short films are definitely the best way to like own your craft as a filmmaker, to be able to tell a story from beginning, middle, and end. I mean, it's been a long road, you know, filmmaking. I've been doing this for a few, you know, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, like seriously directing, and trying to figure out who I am as a filmmaker. And, you know, like I've had influences, like, you know, like when I first started making movies, I started watching more like, I started watching Hitchcock movies and Kurosawa movies, and I'm like, these are my influences. Like, these are the guys that I really want to be. And then like, I really got like this like past year, maybe 2 years, like I've been like, man, like I love these guys. I love the old school directors. Like I've grown to appreciate them more, but like they're not my influences. Like if I'm being for real, it's like James Cameron is my biggest influence. Like Ridley Scott is my biggest influence. Like anything that John McTiernan has done, like Robert Rodriguez. Like I watched so many action movies growing up, but it's like it's untrue to say that like and now and later in life, like I can sit down and watch a Kurosawa movie. Like I was young, I was pretty young when I first saw Seven Samurai, but like it didn't, like I loved it. It made me obsessed with samurai culture. But like to say that was my influence now is just the sexier answer to like, I think people need to embrace the movies that they watch when they're younger. Like a lot of people's introduction to cinema is never like an art house film or like a what's that guy's name? Jean-Luc Godard film. Like you're not a 10-year-old, like you're not a 5-year-old watching, oh my God, I love this Jean-Luc Godard movie. Like, you're watching Jurassic Park and you're going, oh my God, the raptors are coming. Like those are the movies that get people into cinema. And I think that the fact that a lot of people deny that fact that like mainstream cinema is really what like influencing people. But I mean, I'm learning to embrace it more, like, cause people look at you differently, especially if people go to film school. People like when you're like, who's your favorite director? We're like, I don't know, like James Cameron, Ridley Scott, Genndy Tartakovsky is my like all-time favorite director, but nobody knows who he is. That's the more obscure answer. Anybody who knows who Genndy Tartakovsky is, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to say it out loud in your room before I give you the answer. He directed Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, and my favorite show of all time, here's a plug, Samurai Jack. I love Samurai Jack. Look, I got even out a tattoo on my arm. That's how much I love Samurai Jack. I've got his family sigil right here. Any Samurai Jack fans here, add me on Facebook. We're going to be friends. But Samurai Jack, and then, and then he did oh my God, do you remember the animated Clone Wars from 2001?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He did that. And those were amazing. Have you watched them recently? They're incredible.
Wait,
they're a masterclass.
So the show?
The show.
Yeah.
Like the mini series was like 12-minute episodes. Like the show is incredible. Like I have the DVDs. Like if you ever want to borrow them, dude, I'll sit down and watch it with you. They're literally incredible. Like they're like, what? Like that was like the best Star Wars adaptation was done by Genndy Tartakovsky. I'm saying it now. Like, oh my God, the action in those are amazing. Like, you want a masterclass on action that is not like full of fluff? Like that's it, man. That's perfect filmmaking right there. That's what you have to think about when you're making these scenes. Like a lot of people do these coverage shots and they don't really know what they're trying to do with it. If you're gonna do coverage, you still have to tell a story. It's not just like about like crafting the performance. It's still about something.
Well, so let's take Safe House, for example.
Yeah.
And given you shot it in a place that a lot of people that probably will watch us know, the Bradley.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit. I know you did a lot of choreography, and you had to sort of change it up a little bit because you decided to use the space. So, what was it like just coming in and sort of deciding how you were going to use the room and how it changed things?
So what happened was that I'm very specific about my action. I'm specific, but I'm not like 100% about it. There's a lot of people who write things going, "This is it. This is what we're doing." I write things as a blueprint, and then I let like the actors figure it out, whatever feels natural. And John Schnur, who's a stunt, I give him a stunt coordinator credit because he deserves it. Is a champion in this film. John Schnur, if you guys haven't worked with him in this area, or if people are listening from like L.A. or New York, you should cast him in everything you do because he's amazing and he can do what he's the next Tom Cruise. Oh, I just went that big. And Jen Lefsick, she's incredible, and these two actors, they are very like they're so good at opening, like embracing everything you're giving them and then going like, oh, let's figure this out. Like these are the kind of actors you want to work with. Like people, like a lot of people actors wise, I don't like casting actors who just like to be told what to do. I like actors who have an opinion about things, and they're like, and I mean, not always that I don't always listen to opinions, because sometimes I'm like, sometimes it's wrong, and sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm wrong on set, like, and people figure out and they're like, well, what if we try it this way? I'm like, well, that's the right idea. I like actors who come in with opinions and ideas about their characters, and like that outfit that Jen wears in the film, she's Hellcat in the film. I named her Hellcat because I thought it was a cool name, and then she's like, I found this fur vest at a thrift store. Can I wear it? I'm like, that's fine. So they came in, like John, Kristen Noriega, who's the lead actress in this. We only had 2 days she came up the week of when we were supposed to shoot. We had 2 days to choreograph and practice their opening scene, which is in the trailer. With Jen's scene, we had no time. We choreographed that on the fly. Like I had it written, they had an idea of what we're doing, and then obviously we had planned it to do it outside, and so everything changed. So we got to the Bradley, and Vic was so nice. He's like, listen, like I got this cool space. Like, can you check this out upstairs? I'm like, all right, well, this is way better than adding any kind of production value to a movie, because this place is literally already looks like it's lived in. It could be like these people are hiding out here. Yeah. Like there's so many little things that I like. My mind wandered. So the first thing what we had to do is we had to go through the room and remove nails, anything that could hurt our actors, because safety is important, guys. Like this is not a joke. Like we had stunt work is brutal, and people can get hurt. Like, and especially because we had people falling. So one of the first thing we did was we laid that tarp out, like on the ground. Like this is, did you see that little like white tarp like the painter's cloth we had laid out?
I guess not.
In the bottom. Good. That's fine. There's two reasons for that. One is because it allows us to bounce light up. So we were able to use that as a bounce. So we never had to like carry a bounce in. And two, we hid mats under there. So like when people are falling, they're not falling on the ground. We add the sounds of the ground later. So we like went back and recorded like the people hitting the ground, blah, blah, blah. So like that's one of the most important things. Under that white sheet is our mats, so people aren't hurting themselves when they're falling. And that's why Schnur, when he does that roll, like we have a mat there, like he's not just rolling into wood,
right?
And that's important. Like you guys have to remember, like it's stunt work. If you guys in the area are doing action films, like you got to take it seriously. Like if people will get hurt if you don't, especially.
So you actually did sort of talk about this with WMHT, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we did for the summit. We did.
Okay.
Yeah, we never not for Safe House though.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I know you've gotten some attention for your work with stunt work and have things to say about it, which I think is sort of unique for the area. Given,
I mean, I'm doing well.
I know it matters to you.
Yeah. Like I love action movies. I think action movies are one, they're entertainment, and two, they can be much more. Like there's so much potential with action movies. There's so much learning potential. There's because you can do almost anything you want in the guise of entertainment as long as it's entertaining. And a lot of people don't make them entertaining. And a lot of people make action movies where people are just looking angrily at each other, and then they start fighting in the middle of a field or in a warehouse or an abandoned location. And then like, what's the point? Like, put something behind it, craft a story behind it. Like, and that comes with like introducing elements, like I said, with like little subtle storytelling things, like the bruised hands, the bruised face, like why are they dirty? Why are they doing this? Why do they look like that? There's little things that, damn, where was I going with this? So I take action movies seriously. I mean, like we went to Blackbird Film Festival and they loved our action film. They gave us a best action award. Their Cinemax's Urban Action Showcase, we were a finalist in all their Angels of Action competition and their no budget competition, because we made this film for like no money. Mm-hmm. We just took our time with it. Like it was a week. Well, we really spent that week figuring out everything. Like that's I think that's a problem with a lot of filmmakers today, is that we especially independent filmmakers, we want to rush, right? We want to get things done as fast as possible, and that's fine if you're putting out comedy sketches. Comedy sketches you can film in like a day and be fine. I did comedy sketches. I get it, guys. But like if you're going to do something bigger, you're going to do something different, you guys have to plan it. And like what's the point of putting your whole livelihood on the line? Like if you're going to do an Indiegogo campaign for your movie, and it's going to be the same movie that everyone else has seen, a dramatic comedy about a breakup, about like, I can't tell you how many comedies I've seen about suicide. What? Come on, guys. We can do better than this. Really dig deep in yourselves and figure out what movie do you want to see? Do you really want to see another John Hughes style movie, or do you want to see a movie that you want to make? Mm. Like it's hard. I'm telling everybody right now, it's hard to really dig deep and figure out who you are as a filmmaker. Filmmaking is an honest art. Any kind of art, you're revealing who you are, and it's vulnerable, right? And it's easy to hide behind like trying to be other directors. Like it's easy. I did it. I tried to be Edgar Wright. I tried to be Kevin Smith. I tried to be so many other directors until I figured out who I was and what I wanted to contribute. It's okay to have influences. It's okay to take shots that you admire from other filmmakers, but it's also important to understand what makes those shots you. That's something Quentin Tarantino is really good at. Quentin Tarantino, he takes his shots from other movies, but what he understands is how to use those shots. All those shots are used in the story correctly. They're all to tell the story rather than to be like, this is a reference, right. Damn, I don't know where that came from, but well, so deep inside my subconscious, it's festering.
Back to Bradley though. How many days did you have to film?
Two.
So it was. I mean, I imagine this was, even though you were.
So Vic is an amazing person, and he really let us film. But the condition was that the first day we had to be out by 4, the second day we had to be out by 2, because it was Super Bowl weekend.
Right.
And So
No big deal.
in the second fight scene, there's actually people like cheering, like because the Super Bowl was about to start, and we were just hitting like 2:00, and we're like, oh no, like we're finishing up this action sequence, and like a lot. So yeah, we had the first day we just spent the whole day just doing the setups and the ending. So we filmed not the ending, but we filmed everything that would lead up to the fights. So, and the second day we filmed all the fights. So like we really had to figure out, I really should have just done it the first day, actually, now that I think about it. I don't know why I did that. These are things in retrospect you think about, you're like, oh my God, like I'm dumb.
So obviously you've been on the line to tents, waiting for this sort of. You submitted how long ago now for the festival?
I submitted it.
Or for
El Rey.
Yeah.
I submitted a year ago.
Yes,
but the thing is, like, I talked to the producers and stuff like that. They're like, they had thousands of submissions to go through,
right?
And thousands of short films that range from like a minute to like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, like, and the fact that it amazes me, and I still don't think like I deserve it, but mostly because it's like I've seen some of the films that are playing on El Rey, and they're amazing. Like, okay, so for example, like Greg Bishop is a filmmaker that's on the showcase with me Sunday. Greg Bishop makes horror movies. I watched one of his horror movies in high school, and I was absolutely crazy about it. It was called Dance of the Dead. You guys remember that film? Oh my God. One of the most unique ways like that zombies have ever come out of the ground. Like the man put this film together that was like so interesting and so like different, and I loved it. And I used to talk about it in high school all the time. And then to be on the same showcase as him with a movie he made that has Jamie Alexander in it, like, that's weird. And plus my parents are huge Blind Spot fans, so I told them that yesterday, and they're like, you gotta get her over for dinner. I'm like, I don't know if I have that kind of connection. I'm like, they're huge Blind Spot fans, so like, oh my God, they like freaked out. They're like little kids in a candy store.
Is that Lady Sif?
Yeah, Lady Sif, yeah, from Thor. Yeah, so like that's crazy that my film like is playing. Like, my actors are on screen with like a name actor. Like, I love that. I love that my actors are getting attention because these actors work so hard. The Capital Region has some of the hardest working actors in the area, and they all I tend to work with people who show up, is what it comes down to. A lot of filmmakers, a lot of actors in this area love to say that they're actors and then don't show up, and that's why I write small now. I used to write, when I first began, I used to write big pieces that like, I needed a crowd. I'm like, I need extras, and nobody would show up. Everyone was like, we're coming. And then we're like, I got a flat tire. Everyone got a flat tire. Every single person got a flat tire. Like,
it's an epidemic.
It's fix the roads, Albany. But like, that's what it comes down to. Like, like a lot of people still message me like, hey, do you have any roles? I'm like, yeah, but you don't show up. So why would I cast you in something,
Well, we talked a bit about using these folks that are reliable and that you get to know, but what do you recommend? I know you're involved in some different film organizations. What do you recommend for people who want to get involved and get in contact with?
Oh, okay. So, filmmakers, it's tough because I think that the Capital Cinema Cultural Exchange is really great. Mike Camoin runs that. He's been really helping me out, and it's weird. I've been very hesitant about going to that lab because I wasn't sure what it's about really, and then I went and I realized that what I needed was a way to learn how to get out of my own head, and I got that there because their mentors are so helpful there. Other than that, I don't really know any organizations in this area that are like actually good. Like Mike Camoin goes out of his way. But you generally run with a number of other filmmakers. I work with a group. I have a. Oh man, I hate to use the word clique, but it's true, man. Like when you start to work with people, like you quickly eliminate the people who don't show up and who are only there to ride your coattails, right? And then you meet the filmmakers that you start to admire, and you guys tend to group up together because you know that you could take something from each other. And I'm not afraid of like giving my ideas to them because I'm like, take this idea. Like I'll use it some other way. Like I want to help these people as much as I can. Like people like John Yost, John Yost is my favorite filmmaker in this area. He hates it when I say that because I'm actually a really big fan of his and I geek out, and his films are incredible and they're so unique to him, you know, like, oh man, Joe, I'm so sorry. I'm going to butcher your last name because I always forget how to pronounce it, but Joe Giedel, oh my God. I'm so sorry.
We wrote about him, but
yeah, you wrote about him.
I didn't write the article.
I honestly can't remember how to pronounce his last name right now. But I helped him with his film Museum, and that like for his first short film, like as he's, it's crazy like to even think about, but like Joe has such a specific vision for what he wants, and I get it. Like I get what he's trying to do, and the way he writes, I get it. Like I get what like he's trying to do these like crazy art house films of crazy imagery, like these David Lynchian like style films, like and they're amazing, and they're so him, and they like I want to help that. I want to help him, and I want him to be a part of my films because, like even though I'm not doing art house films, you never know if he has an idea that, like, he's like, well, you could try this. I'm like, well, that's a great idea. Why not? You know, like, it's these little things, and like, you know, Victoria Diana we just helped her produce a film. We produced her first short film, and it was a horror short film, like a very like Hitchcockian, like Stanley Kubrickian-esque. Like she wears her influences on her sleeve too. Like she's a big Kubrick fan. She's a big like Silence of the Lambs fan. Like, and she directed this dope like horror short film that's going to be playing at the Big Bloody Apple in the city. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but it's sponsored by Women in Film. Women in Horror. I'm so sorry, Women in Horror. And they're this great organization that really help like, you know, promote women's work in horror films. And she's one of like 6 filmmakers that are gonna be playing there. And there's gonna be like, you know, Heather Buckley will be there, who directed like the breakout film The Ranger that came out this past year. Like, you know, she's doing a Q&A and like a workshop with them, and like, yeah, she's gonna go places. She's just got to keep making horror films. I mean, that's unfair. She can do whatever she wants. But she's got the thing is like with Joe and Victoria, for their first short films, they had such a solid vision. And yeah, there were mistakes made on the way. Everyone makes mistakes in their first short films, but these people are going to keep learning, and they're going to keep getting better. And that scares me because it took me like 4 years to get good at this, and they're going to get good at this like right away. Like, but it's going to take mistakes, and they've made mistakes in their films, and they've realized them. They're going to fix them as they keep I'm excited to see what they keep doing, you know, like it's exciting for me to like hear what they're going to do next, you know, like, cause I know they're just going to keep killing it every time. They're going to get so good at this. Cause the only way to get good at filmmaking is to keep doing it. Like you're always going to make mistakes. I made mistakes on my film, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it strikes me how much time you've been working with film, whether it's just YouTube, like we talk about as sort of as a younger kid putting up whatever, but it also seems to me like it's you know, obviously there are people on YouTube who make crap videos to make a lot of money showing off kids' toys or opening things or whatever.
Oh my God.
But
what am I doing?
It has to be more inviting for film, you know, for people to have this venue to post their stuff in some ways. And not having grown up with it, or, you know, myself, it's sort of like I'm almost jealous of the idea that, you know, there is this better output rather than
I mean, it's super liberating to make movies and just put them online, you know, but like there are things that don't work online too. Like horror movies do really well online. They do really well on YouTube because people are always looking up new horror films. Action, dramas, comedies, I mean, they're hit or miss, right? Like you run the risk of like really getting drowned in YouTube.
Yeah.
And then that's what I really like about, like, you know, there's new outlets coming out, like Dust short films are really cool to me because they're all science fiction short films.
Yeah.
They're curated. They're on a website. They have an app. Like it's cool the way they're doing it. Alter, Crypt TV, like to find a way to cut through the middleman or the searching and, like, you know, find the work you're looking for. Yeah. So, I mean, when I first started, I just started kind of throwing everything online as I could, because I really didn't care for film festivals and stuff like that. And, because like I've always had, terrible experiences at film festivals. They're just not been fun for me. You know, there's only one good film festival that I've ever gone to, and I want to go back there every year. So I always try to make a film every year to try to submit there. It's a shout out to Adirondack Film Festival. They're literally incredible. That's how filmmakers should be treated. But every other experience I've had at a film festival has literally been terrible. They don't treat filmmakers well. They ignore the filmmakers. There's so many little things that I'm like, you know, I went to a film festival a few months ago, and they asked everyone to come up for Q&A, and I'm like, I'm not going up. Like, nobody's cared until this point. Like, wow, like nobody even asked if I'm here, you know. And that's dumb. Like, you know, God, you know, it's funny. Like, I was at a film festival with Safe House, and I was sitting next to these people who were audibly saying out loud that the film sucked. And I got emotional about it. I got like talking about film festivals, like that's also the risk you run. Like, you know, when you go to film festivals, people are gonna hate your movie. And then some people are gonna like your movie. Like, it's tough. It's tough putting yourself out there. It's tough putting yourself out there no matter what. You know, YouTube, film festivals, like anywhere that people are gonna see your film, and that's why a lot of people don't put their films out. You know, a lot of people make movies and then they don't finish them because they're like, people are going to hate this. Because at the end of the day, even if you make an art house movie and you don't post it online, like if you make an art house movie, you're admitting to and you don't post it online, you're admitting that you made it for an audience. Now, it's not for you. Like if you're just making a movie for you, just post it online. Like, but that's the thing is like at the end of the day, you want people to look at your art. You want people to look at what you made, you know. It's instinctual in us, you know. Look at kids when they make something dumb. You're like, Daddy, look, like, you know, like I was that kid. Like I'm like, look, I made this thing out of tinfoil, and he's like, that's cool. Go study math. You know, like it's instinctual in us to make things and want to show it to people, even if it's dumb. Well, but like,
I think it's important we end on a less serious note. So, or maybe it's even more serious. Can you share your top 5 action films with us?
Oh my God, this is serious, man. Yeah. Why would you do this? Okay.
No, I think it's important.
Oh my God. Okay. This is tough. I'm going to say Terminator 2 right off the bat, because Terminator 2 is like peak action movie. Like I always say that, did we really even need action movies after Terminator 2? Do we even need movies after Terminator 2? Like, to be fair. And then I would say Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers is like one of my favorite movies of all time. It's definitely like my number 1 and number 2 spot. You know, I try not to rank things like by best or worst, but like, man, Lord of the Rings and Terminator 2, definitely up there. And then I would say Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise flick. If you guys haven't seen it,
you mean Live Die Repeat?
Live Die Repeat. I love Edge of Tomorrow, and I hate that people don't go watch it because it's literally incredible. And Emily Blunt is amazing in it.
But yeah, and I just wanted her to kill Tom Cruise more. That was sort of my,
you know. I love that movie, and I went and saw that movie a bunch in the theater. I bought it on Blu-ray the day it came out. The behind the scenes alone in it are incredible. And the way Doug Liman works, Doug Liman is an incredible director, and like I'm a big fan of his work too. He's just, you know, the man wants to be honest and clear, and though that's something I can respect as a filmmaker, because I love when my action is clear. Like I like to know what's going on. And then I would say fourth. Wait, what am I on? Those 3?
Yes, you're on 4.
I'm on 4? Oh my God. What did I say for the third one?
Live Die Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow.
Wait, this is 4 then. This is 4.
Yeah, you're on
okay.
4.
Oh man. I'm going to say The Matrix. I love the Matrix movies. I love the Matrix movies. And then I would say Super Cop. Jackie Chan. Yeah. And then I would say after that, if I have to give a 6, it'd be Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Hey, you can do 10, man.
I'll do 10.
Is it?
Oh, I'll do 10.
Rogue Nation?
Rogue Nation, I think, is incredible as a movie. I think it's one of the best action movies, if not one of the best Mission Impossible movies ever made, period. Like, it's so good. And I get it. Mission Impossible doesn't need me talking for them, but man, that movie is so good. Oh man, 7. What would 7 be? 7 would be. Oh my God, I wish my girlfriend would be here. She'd be like, you talk about this movie all the time. Why don't you just say that? Like, it's weird when you ask for a top 10, you're like, my mind's gone blank. Oh God,
Well, I'll just say most of mine are all Van Damme movies, and probably start with Cyborg.
I love Van Damme. Universal Soldier, man. Come on.
Soldier,
oh my God.
yeah, that was big when I was
Kickboxer. There we go. I own like so many copies of Kickboxer. It's insane. If your enemy refuses to be humbled, destroy them.
Here's a question: does RoboCop count as an action movie? Or
hell yeah,
sci-fi?
100%.
Yeah.
Anything. I think anything can count as an action movie as long as their characters are doing more rather than saying more.
I would say most of Verhoeven stuff like that.
Yeah, Verhoeven, Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
oh my God, I can't even tell you how many times I've seen Starship Troopers. So that's like 9 now, right? We're at 9, something like that. Oh my God, I'm just gonna add those to my list because like my list changes all the time, but like the two constants are Terminator 2 and Lord of the Rings. So like, geez, any other Tom Cruise movies, Micah? Think. I love Tom Cruise. I think he's one of the best performers of all time. God, I'm trying to, like, I have so many action movies running through my head right now. And I love action movies, you know, like I love like old Kung Fu movies. Like Come Drink With Me is one of my favorite movies. Anything with Jackie Chan in it, Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon. What am I even thinking? I have a Bruce Lee necklace on. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Bruce Lee. I forgot. Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Chinese Connection, like oh my God.
How about what's your take on Face Off guy?
John Woo.
Yeah.
Unpopular. Okay, so I love Hard Boiled. I think it's a great movie. It's ridiculous. It's awesome. Doves flying everywhere. Like it's amazing. But all his other movies, man, like I don't know. He's hit or miss for me. Like Mission Impossible 2 is literally the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Okay, I can't say that. It's
I've seen worse, but it was really.
It was bad. It was really bad. John Woo, man. I want to like his movies because everyone's like, why don't you like John Woo? I'm like, because I don't like bad movies.
Hard Target. Though, which was a terrible movie.
Wait, that was a Van Damme. He directed that.
I think I saw that when I was like 11.
Oh my God!
My mom to take me to
I remember Hard. I didn't know John Woo directed it.
Yeah, well, you know, I believe so, and I believe it was like it was towards the end of Van Damme's career, so it was like almost noble of him to use him as the actor. It was like,
it's like here, Van Damme,
and then after that, his career went away, and Woo was ascended. And
Predator.
Oh, yeah,
Predator. I'm sorry. I forgot about Predator. My Arnold Schwarzenegger obsession. Jean-Claude Van Damme is a whole different tangent. I'm sorry if I'm taking up too much time, but like he had that movie come out, JCVD, that was actually pretty good, and he directed that. And I want a Jean-Claude Van Damme comeback. I really do, and like I think. Sense8 tried to like bring him back as a cultural icon, like the Jean-Claude Van Damme, like the car, and that was really cool. And then he's in the Tostitos commercials now. I love those. Nobody gets those Tostitos commercials unless you've watched Van Damme movies. And I love Van Damme, so whenever I see him, I laugh so hard. And then my girlfriend's like, "Why are you laughing?" I'm like, "Cause it's Jean-Claude Van Damme." I can do a full split because of how much I love Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'll do it right now if you guys want me to. I'll do a full split. I'll go kickboxer for you. You don't believe me? I'll do it.
Well, maybe you should save that for Sunday. So I just wanted to
come Sunday, and I will do a full split in honor of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Should we invite everyone? Are you?
Come. I don't care.
Do you think think there's enough room at this point?
No, but come have a beer. Come hang out. I don't care. I don't really like. If you guys want to come hang out, come hang out. But if you guys want to fund my next film, feel free to do that too.
Yeah, and so and finally, you are working on a new project.
I am doing another project. I'm doing a giant robot western. I say giant robot because not a lot of people know what a mech is. Yeah. So I just call it a giant mech. Like it's a mech western. Think of it as Unforgiven with giant robots.
But not Wild Wild West.
Not Wild Wild West, please. No. it's it's tough to compare it to anything because unless you're an anime fan, a lot of live action movies don't even have anything that have giant robots in it other than Iron Giant. But like, I mean, we're gonna do this film like very practically. We're gonna do it with people in robot suits, and we're trying to update them with newer visual effects. So what we're gonna do is put people in like these giant robot costumes. We're gonna build big sets for them to walk through, and then we have the same VFX team that's working on the Avengers that are and Spider-Man that are working on it. So anything that looks kind of corny, we'll kind of fix in post. I'm hoping it doesn't look corny because I'm hoping that the drama in it is real. Like if the drama is real, I don't care if it looks like it's people in robot suits. Like as long as it looks good to an extent, because I really want to do something in the old Godzilla style, like Ultraman style. Because I feel like we gave up on that a little too quickly. Because it's like, of course, it looks a little corny, but like, I like it. I like giant robots, so I want to do something like that. Like the closest thing I can think of to this film is an anime called Big O. I don't know if everyone, like, I used to watch it when I was younger. I used to love it. But if you guys know what Big O is, you can look it up. It's on. I think the first episode's on YouTube, and it's on Verve and Crunchyroll. If you guys are anime fans.
Do you expect this to be a full film or?
No, it's going to be a short film.
Okay.
So it's going to be like about a 15, 20-minute short film. And obviously, I would love to do a giant mech film in the future, feature version of it. And I'm definitely working on one right now. I'm working on a giant mech movie. But for now, I'd really like to do a short film and, show people what I can do with a budget, because I've never worked with a budget before. And now I have a few people who are helping me out funding this project, and we do need more money, but like they are being very nice about it. And, a friend of mine is paying for the post work and stuff like that. I think we have something that's going to be really incredible, and we have an outlet, I can't say where yet, that was interested in the film, about it playing there. It's a really big stage, and we have a bunch of connections there, and we reached out to them about the project, and they said, "Hey, when you're done with it, send it directly to us, and if we like it, we'll play it." We're trying to get a name actor attached. Can't say who yet. I have two in mind. One, if either of them say yes, great. If they both say yes, I'm kind of screwed. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be great. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be a Western. Think of, it's a Clint Eastwood movie with giant robots is what I really am pitching it as. And if you're interested in working with us on it, let us know.
Cool. And so where should people go to contact you and watch your work? Oh
my gosh. So YouTube, you can look up Golden Horde Films. You can look up my name, Micah Khan. You can find me on Instagram at Micah_Khan, MICAHKHAN. I can't stress that enough. How many people have misspelled my name this week is insane. It's been bad. I'll show you one off when we get off the air. No, not you. No, not you. Oh my gosh. I would never be that casual about it. Like you spelled my name wrong. You can find me on Facebook. You can email me at mongolianhordefilms@gmail.com. You can come hang out with me on Sunday and be like, here's a check for $20,000 to make your film. I don't know, whatever you guys want to do, feel free.
Well, thanks for coming in, and
I appreciate it.
was good to have you.
Thank you.